It's alive. It's alive. Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where you are in the world and how you are consuming this content. How's everybody doing this morning? I have not got my links up yet, so I want to add some links before I do stuff. How's everybody doing? How is life? How is your day? How is Friday going for you? Yeah, it's good. I missed last week because of life and things like that. Life is the operative word of the day. This is what I want to put into the chat. This link for Substack newsletter. Out every week, every Friday. My thoughts on the Oscars this week. And to be totally honest, I'm wondering about their relevance. Also, the Quiet Creator Studio was out on Tuesday, and that was about systems, which I want to get into today. Just before I jump into the DAW, and you kind of watch me fumble around in Logic for an hour, which is hopefully more fun than it sounds. So if you are sitting with your DAW open, speaking of DAWs, has anyone tried Reaper? And what are your thoughts? Is it going to be the new Logic? Just throwing it out there. Could be a possibility. But systems, I have read the book Atomic Habits. That's a while ago now. James Clear, where he talks about you don't aspire to your goals, you fall back on your systems. And this whole idea of having systems in place to help you with your creative work and help you do things more efficiently and quicker. And what kind of systems do you have? I find thing with systems is sometimes the appeal of a system can be a form of procrastination. So I'm of two minds about systems in general. On the one hand, I think they're great. Love doing them. Love planning. Love, thinking up ideas of how ways you can do them. And thinking that these systems, once that I've planned them out, and they can be very elaborate at times, that they will be really useful. And sometimes that is true, but other times you can make yourself a lot of busy work by designing systems just for the sake of designing systems. So I'd love to know your thoughts on that. Do you have a system that works for you? Do you have a workflow, a process that you fall back on every time, that does the job every time? And if so, what does that look like? Because I'm like, I have a love-hate relationship with it. On the one hand, a system like having a template is really practical, it's really handy and very useful. But if you're spending 3 or 4 hours getting a template together, you're not spending that 2 or 3 hours writing. So does it cancel itself out? Same with long kind of mixing chains or processing buses or any things that you think are going to make your life easier, but end up actually. Nelson, hola. How's it going? What are your systems? We're talking about systems before I jump into Logic, and you can see what a kind of messy system that I have. Hope you're doing good. And yeah, so I'm always on the hunt for a new system and something that's going to make life easier. But I'm also, I think maybe I'm long enough in the tooth to know that if you rely too heavily on creating systems, you're in for trouble. So, speaking of systems, orchestral systems, I'm going to continue on with where we were from the last time. Working out the SATB. Oh, there was one more thing. And this is a good one. I just saw a video on this morning. And let me find it. I know I keep going on about these this company, the Crowhill Company, but they just released a free instrument in their Vault collection called Icky Bass, and sign in. Yeah, and I'm going to put a link to it here, so because I'm dying to try it out. It sounds so good in the video. So what it is it's a Fender bass, so Fender Rhodes bass. So it's like a precursor to the Fender Rhodes traditional analog piano, and it's processed through Jack White's, I think it's an overdrive pedal. Let me see if I can find it here. I'm going to put up the link as soon as I can find it. And yeah, linked through Jack White's overdrive pedal. Woohoo! I found it. Okay, cool. There's a lot of hoops to jump through. This, I should have done this before I turned on the live stream, because it's like old man shouts at cloud situation. But that's the way it goes. Worth getting out of bed for at 10 o'clock on a Friday morning. Okay. And my Crowhill app is here somewhere. Yeah, totally shouldn't have done this live, but however. This is how teachers must feel. I always think of like teachers giving live lectures when they have to use technology. We had a lecture one time with a guy who came in and he talked about what is the name of it? Unreal Engine. So Unreal Engine is software where you can design kind of 3D environments for computer games and things like that. And he was so enthusiastic about the applications for audio within Unreal Engine, and he started off his whole lecture was about 20 minutes of how amazing it is, how easy it is to use, and everything like that. And then when he came to demonstrate it, it all just went totally wrong. I've never felt so bad. Like, I'm sure from a practical point of view that using it was really was really easy, but to demonstrate the use of it in front of a large group of people is always tricky. But I find that as well for gigs. Do you find that for gigs, especially if you're working with a lot of gear? And there's a lot more gear knocking around these days than there used to be. Now, hang on. Let me just do this super quick. Okay, what am I looking for? The Crowhill app. So they're the Crowhill Company. Stair Vaults, Icky Bass. That's what it's called. Now, let me get this link and send it to you, because this is... Sometimes they bring out free instruments and they're like, yeah, okay. But this was like, the minute I heard it, I was like, I have to get this. And it's free. So, you know. By the way, this is not sponsored or anything. This is just something that I like. So maybe you would like it too. So there it is in the chat. Now go check it out. Get yourself a free instrument. I am going to go back to my big head now, because I want to just close down Logic and open up this awesome new plugin and see if we can get some creative noises out of it. So I'm still thinking about moving the time of these live sessions to maybe an evening time. How would that suit you? If that is something that you would like, let me know, because I think I've done enough of them now to know how to live stream using Logic and audio and MIDI and all the rest of it. So I think I'm ready to go mainstream, go live. So please jump in the chat and let me know your thoughts on it, because you know, there's definitely people who watch these live streams and maybe not live at the time, but if you leave a comment at any time, even if you're watching a playback of it or you're watching a section of it, I'll see it and I'll get back to you. So that's always good. And okay, I'm installed and ready to go. Now, I'm actually, this just dropped this morning, so I'm a little bit excited to see what happens with this. Let me just open up a new channel here, a new track, and make sure it's opening okay. Icky bass, there it is. Awesome. Okay. Here it is. Whoops. I'm moving my whole screen now. Didn't mean to do that. Here it is. Yeah. Okay, so we've got low E. Yeah, so we've got just over an octave. Mornings. Yeah. And I'm going to put my YouTube down here so I can see everything. Cool. Okay, can you all hear the music okay? And I'm going to go up to this one now, this big screen. So that's cool, isn't it? Okay, so we have some effects here. We got an auto wah. Super cool. And we have chorus, which is fine. So strange overtones going on. And then we have, oh, this is gnarly. This is the gnarly distortion stuff. So this one here, knife. I don't know if you can see this. So again, demonstrating bass sounds on phone speakers is, yeah, if you have headphones preferably, put on your headphones because you'll hear this much better. And if not, it's not going to sound quite as impressive. And the last one. Okay, so this is our clean kind of bass sound. So very Ray Manzarek from The Doors. And then you can add grit. So super bassy. So very cool. Okay, again, not sponsored. This is Icky Thump. Icky Thump, that's the song it comes from. The White Stripes album. I think it was called Icky Thump. There was a song called Icky Thump anyway. And it had this Fender Rhodes bass with a Jack White pedal. Pretty cool. So I don't know how that's going to fit into my SATB thing, but I'm going to make it fit because it just sounds cool to me. So links in the description. Crow Hill Company, sign up for them, get free vaults. They have loads of free vaults. They have Bowerons and they have drum machines, choirs, weird orchestral effects, and I don't know, it's like they come out free for a while and then they go behind a paywall of like €3 or €4, and that paywall for these vaults products go to a charity, I believe. So so well worth getting them and playing around with them. Again, not sponsored, not affiliated, just enjoy them. Okay, so let's check my chat here. Okay, so where are we? Yes. So I wanted to get back into not going through. Oh no. This is when this is the joy of, so just the vocal or the MIDI sound. Interesting. Let's try and fix this. See, this is what I need. I need a producer. Just after me saying that I think I've got the hang of this live streaming business now. I will go bring it mainstream. Won't be bringing it mainstream. And I told a story about how somebody failed in technology in front of people. So I think this is some karma. Just after me saying, oh wait. Are you sure it's not coming through? Should be working. Voice is okay. Bit low. Okay. Let's see. How about now? Is that a bit better? Now it's okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. See, I need a producer. I need someone to come to my house on Friday morning and produce coffee and composing. We can drink coffee together and you can be the producer. Who's up for it? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts. If you got this far in the video, then yeah, all applications will be considered. Muchas gracias. Okay, so just a quick review. Sounds quite nice up here too, doesn't it? Yeah, okay. Anyway, enough messing around. So what I will probably do here is I will take the bass from here, which will be something like this. And these should be all kind of roots. And I'm going to put it in here in icky bass. Icky bass. That's kind of my, yeah. Okay. MIDI region. And suddenly we have the first export of, so recap of what's been going on. So picked a chord progression, really straightforward diatonic chord progression in C major, A minor, F, C, G, A minor, F, D minor, G7, C. Okay. And the point of the last live stream was to look at how to voice these chords in a way that will make for better orchestration. So haven't thought about melody, haven't thought about bass line. I've only looked at how to spread out the chord in a way that will be a little bit nicer sounding on the orchestra. So again, this is kind of me learning this stuff. So let's look at the bass line. So I'm going to start adapting these things as I go and expanding them. Oops, not that much. I thought I only had the bottom. So I now have just transferred the bass into the bass, which is very boring. And we still need the D there, so this note belongs down here. And we go down an octave. Okay, so next thing I want to do is take the top line, because when you're studying this, and it is quite a while since I studied this, so get ready with your checklist of things that I'm making mistakes on. When you have your melody and then you have your figured bass on the bottom, and then it's a matter of filling in the harmony. So I've kind of got the top line where I want it as a skeletal idea, and the bass line where I want it as well. So the next job will be to actually write a melody, something that makes a little bit more melodic sense. So let's get into that. So I'm going to take top line here, and I'll take all of this actually. And I'm just going to put it on a on another piano track just for now. All right, so this note is doubling up. Don't need it. And why am I not loaded? Interesting. Here we go. Not sure if I'm liking this Mrs. Mills piano, but I have a feeling it's going to sound like Linkin Park now. But yeah, might be a little bit on the high side. So we might bring it down. We can always double the octave later on when we put it into strings, which is pretty much orchestration 101, which is if you have strings 1 and 2, that you can expand your melody over 3 octaves to give it like real weight and power. Beautiful. This is the most amazing piece of music that has ever been written by anybody, ever. Okay, so let's look at, first of all, we've got some choices here. We got harmonic choices and we got rhythmic choices. So I think let's start with the rhythmic choices. Oops. Okay, so 2. Just gonna draw in stuff because and we've moved this to so I like doing this sometimes, just playing around with drawing MIDI. So somebody I was watching yesterday or the day before said that people now arrange like Tetris. So you just take shapes and throw them in. And I think, you know, sometimes when you're drawing in MIDI and instead of, like in an ideal world, it's all in your mind and you write it out exactly how you want it. I have found that I always will fall back on kind of cliches and tropes of stuff that is just in my mind. So as a guitar player, something that I notice is because I spend such a long time in, say, wedding bands and things, is that I'll have a stock set of licks that I know will get me through certain styles of music. And I learned them because that was the style that I was playing. But I found that I wouldn't have necessarily used those from a compositional choice. I use them from a kind of stylistic choice. So I tend to fall back on habits that are ingrained in me. And I think when composing, what this approach does is it throws in a randomness that I quite like, that will surprise me. And I think, you know, that's one of the things that I like most about when you're writing, is to surprise yourself. And it's almost like you put your mind, you put yourself into the mind of a listener rather than a composer, and trying to step away from the typical things that you would do. Effects are a great idea for this as well, because you've no real creative control. You've creative control, but you're not sure exactly what's going to come out the other end when you're processing through effects. Like, you know, up to a reasonable point, but I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm kind of liking that. It's like mysterious. And so I'm going to use the overall shape as well. So we have this kind of statement with variation, adaptation, and then conclusion. That's a typical way you can structure a melody. So here's our first statement. Here's the same statement restated, but with a slight adaptation. So just changing the notes. And this part, we want a variation. So we want it to move somewhere else. And then we will be restating the melody at the end and see how that works. Okay, and get rid of the big. Right, so I just need to figure out something that happens in the middle. Okay, this is not quite working yet. See how it turns out. And that should be down here. And up an octave. Yeah. So I would not have come near that melody in my mind if I had tried to sing it or come up with it in my head. It's getting closer. So any thoughts? What do you think? Is this working? Could be working. Working for me. Yeah, there's got a kind of mysterious vibe that I quite like. And I just want to change around this section. Do we want to get it busier or less busy? Maybe more rhythmically strange. And so I wouldn't always do this as a strategy, but sometimes works. Oops. That's kind of cool. And so it's very kind of Murder in the Attic, isn't it? Okay, can't do that now. Okay, so creepy vibe, modern, yeah. It will perhaps be something. Okay, this is weird, but I kind of dig it. So again, this might be a bit like cheating, really. Yeah, I don't know how you would describe this approach, where you're kind of letting the visual aspect of drawing in MIDI and things guide you, rather than maybe what your ear is telling you to do. But you find that once these things happen, your ear will take over. So for this example, the resolution from the cadence. So my ear was going, right, what notes need to resolve there? So it's like a real combination between surprising yourself, but also just throwing out new ideas. And the great thing about this is you don't necessarily have to be in, you know, like inspiration doesn't necessarily have to hit you to do this. So you can go in and you can mess around with your MIDI and see what comes out of it after that. So it's kind of like, I kind of think it's a bit like collage, where or maybe what I imagine a sculpture would be like, where you're not quite sure how it's going to come out until you start like tweaking it, which is probably the opposite. If you were designing a house, it'd be a terrible way to approach it. I'm just going to throw up a wall here and see, or maybe a door here. So it's like the opposite of proper composition, I guess. Hang on, that's not strictly true. I've already kind of got my framework of spread chords, spread voicings and stuff. So maybe it's a little bit more structured than I'm giving myself credit for. Okay, it's something, all right. So here, before we start orchestrating things out even more, I'm going to come back to my middle voicings on my main keyboard here. So we've got, let's see, we've got root, which we don't need because we're going to double that up in the cello. Another root. What's that? C. Don't need that. Yeah. D, G, C. Okay, so we got rid of that one. Here is going to be doubled for the melody. So it's really these three voices next are going to be our internal. What are we going to do with these? Now, what are we looking for? Yeah, some weird stuff going on there. So we could look for some sustained builds, could be nice, or we could go for like an ostinato to give a kind of a rhythmic quality. So we've got choices there, and so I'm going to take this line, and I'm going to think in terms of long held brass kind of idea. So again, I'm trying to get to a place where before you start throwing everything out into the orchestra, you have an idea of roughly what you're going to do. So as far as I'm aware, and my own kind of limited scope on this is that like orchestration is like interior design. You know, you're not changing the fundamental structure of your house. I'm using house analogies a lot because I'm actually moving house in summer, and we're getting our house ready to sell it. So I'm very conscious of these things at the moment. So forgive me for all of the house analogy, interior design stuff. But yeah, so I'm trying to get this to a place where once you've decided your structural walls, that the orchestration should kind of naturally follow on from it, rather than looking at the orchestration as too much of a compositional idea. Does that make sense? So this is kind of me finding my footing with this as well. So I might not yet have the right words to articulate what I'm trying to say. But hey, it's a process, right? It's a journey. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for a demo kind of a brass. Something that I can load quite quickly. I'm just going to go for the cheapo option. So if you are looking to get into orchestral programming, MIDI programming, and orchestral mockups and things like that, this particular template, this Logic template, is available if you click the link for Substack, which is the weekly newsletter. There's a link there to check out. That's what I'm looking for. To check out the template. So the template here is all of the instruments are preloaded on channels, and as well as that, the routing's all done. So they're all stereo panned to where they're supposed to be. They all have some processing, some gain staging, some EQ, some reverbs, and there is a mastering bus as well. So all you need to do when you pick up the template is to load in your instruments of choice. So Each family is done there. So here we have the woodwinds, the brass, percussions, pitch percussion with pianos and things like that, choir, strings, and each of them are done with their own articulations. So there's a track for long, shorts, pizzicatos, etc. And they're all pre-made and done for you. So all you need to do is download your free orchestral sample library of choice, or you're paid for one, your Spitfire or whatever. Orchestral Tools have a free orchestral sample library, and so too does Spitfire Audio, their symphonic library. They're free, and then just come up here into your instrument section and load them in. So you can check that out on my website, barrypowermusic.com. You'll find it there. If you're so inclined to want to pick yourself up a template. There's another one. There's a second template as well that has some of the free synths in Logic for more hybrid stuff. So if you want to do like sci-fi or horror or kind of get into that kind of area, John Carpenter stuff, there's a template for that too. So yeah, this should sound like a French horn, which it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. Why would it, sure? Because it's in the wrong register, I would imagine. Okay, this is going to be a bit full on because there's no articulations and things like that, but decided to have a short. So let's have a listen and see how it. Okay, so straight of all, it's way too in your face here, and probably a little bit on the high end. So we'll take that down here. And we're looking for something a little less intense. So more mellow, kind of muted sound. So just take the velocities down. And we'll probably bring them in from here, really. Do something with that last note. Okay, so we are running out of time, so we will be picking this up again next week. I sound like a teacher now. Okay, that's it. That's all I got for this Friday morning. Happy Friday, and enjoy your weekend. Thank you very much for sticking around and hanging out. Please feel free to jump in the comments in the chat. Thanks again, Nelson, for hanging out. Also, leave a comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Subscribe to the newsletter, say hello, and back again next Friday for